serendipity. Right. You're like serendipity. I'm like, I just came to me. Thanks, man.
Thanks, dear.
Oh, we're gonna take a picture of the pizza. These are cool. So what are they on, like tortilla shells?
Hey, y'all, say hi to the camera. You know that's that's our producer right there. Shout out to Bay, man. Shout out to Bay for the drinks. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Looking good, girl.
You do this.
You know what I'm saying? Cheers, fellas. Cheers. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is.
Always.
You know. Cheers to another day. You know what I'm talking about?
Always cheers.
This is Put Your Notice Podcast. Y'all know who it is, man. It's the boy, Mr. Watch Your What? Watch Your Tone. And I'm sitting here with the main man, Mr. B, a.k.a. Barney Moore.
This man.
You know what I'm saying?
This man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we joined today by our homeboy, our homie. Y'all know this guy from the Cross Up.
Bless.
LP is in the building.
Got him.
In the building. Yes, sir. And
Exclusive.
LP is joining us on Set the Bar, where we pretty much want to talk about financial literacy, financial knowns and unknowns. Last episode, fellas, Pat, last episode we got to talk a little bit about financial myths.
Yes.
So
that was a good
that was a good conversation.
Good
So
conversation.
some financial
Yes,
myths that we were taught, or the greatest financial myths that we know of, as far as don't get a credit card, Barney.
Yep.
It's not a good decision.
It's not a good decision.
That's a myth. Just so y'all know, that's a myth.
That's a myth.
What's another one that we talked about? One of those financial myths that we discussed.
That just save. Save, don't invest.
Right.
Save your money.
Right.
Don't take chances.
Right.
Save it.
Right.
No,
don't do that. Don't do that. Invest. I definitely wish I would have started investing at an earlier age in my life. I wish I would have understood stop at an earlier age. This is something that I'm trying to teach myself nowadays.
Right.
I joined Robinhood and then I got off because of what happened last month.
I don't blame you.
Robinhood. I joined that, but no. Honestly, I've definitely been trying to learn a lot. I've been reading Damon John's book.
It's a great book.
As far as what's the title of it? The Power of Broke.
Yeah.
I believe.
I think it's Power Broke, but
so I've been reading Damon John book. Been reading another book called "You a Badass at Making Money." I've just pretty much dedicated these last few months as far as teaching myself and learning different things when it comes to financial literacy and financial education. I just feel like there's a lot of things that I didn't learn at an earlier age, or a lot of things that I didn't pay attention to, because I want to say I wasn't taught it. I want to say I didn't appreciate what I was being taught. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, of course. Because a lot of people are never like, why is this important? I need to know why this is important to me.
Right.
You know, and we were never told why it's important. So
Right.
why would it be important to you?
Exactly. So with that being said, I want to ask you, Pat, what are some things that you wish you would have known, or what are some financial myths that you were told coming up?
I think my parents did the best job that they can do, but saying that, there's also a lot of holes that were left.
Right.
I feel like my parents did a great job of the first initial part of, do this and do that, like save your money, don't get a credit card, and don't go in debt.
But they didn't say why.
Don't get a credit card.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That was one of those myths.
Right, that was one of those myths.
But they didn't say why.
Right.
You know, they didn't say why not to do this and why to do this, which, as you get older, then you realize they're still finding out why.
Right on.
And
That's interesting.
Yeah, if they're still finding out why, then how can they fully tell you? Because usually, growing up, in the inner city, the first time you experience, a loan, anything has anything to do with money is when it's like in front of your face and you have to make a decision. It's not a conversation.
Right.
So the first time you being introduced to a loan is like when you're in college and they ask you to take out a loan and you're like, it's my first time learning about a loan and I got 2 days to make this decision.
Right.
I don't have any financial background, nobody to say, well, how about we get a private loan, or how about we go to a different bank? Don't go through your school. Don't do a student plus loan.
Right.
There's nobody there to tell you that, but you're already in that situation. You don't have time.
It's so funny that his story relates to what I said last episode.
Exactly.
The last 2 episodes, your story definitely relates to what I've been through myself as a kid. You know what I'm saying?
As I started nodding when he was saying that, like that is so accurate, man. And like, think about this. Nobody likes to make a decision with a gun to their head.
Huh?
And when you got 2 days to decide if you want to go to college or not and sign on this loan, that's a gun to your head, you know? And so you make a lot of decisions under duress that you would not normally do.
Right.
And that'll get you in a financial hole sometimes.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
That's a great point.
Definitely a great point. Hey, this perfect time to say shout out to Loaded Slate, man. They got these
Breakfast pizza.
it's a breakfast pizza, man. It's a brunch pizza, and it's pretty fuego. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It is delicious.
It is definitely pretty fire. So if y'all see me take a bite here and there, I apologize right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just apologize right now.
Yeah, you'll hear the crunching.
The food is fire though.
Food is
Definitely
great,
shout
man.
out to Lotus Slate. I'm gonna come up for another name for this breakfast pizza. I think it should be called like the pizza-roni Tony.
You know how his name got in there somehow? I don't know.
know how that happened.
Gotta put your own name
The
in.
pizza
Name
Roni
dropping
Tony.
it started
It's already a Tony shit. Nah, man, shout out to Slate though, man. Huge shout out to V, of course, always, man. But man, going into today's discussion, we're gonna talk a little bit about I was gonna say financial myths again, but I really want to say we're gonna talk about racial gap, the racial gap
in wealth building. In wealth. The racial gap.
You know what? I sent Barney a post that I seen the other day. The post illustrated that America's racial wealth gap between black families and white families. Black families' net worth were averaging at $17,000, right?
Yeah.
White families' net worth was averaging at $171,000.
That's a big difference.
What? What? Man, B, so like I want to know, in your opinion, like why is it that significant of a difference? Like
I think it was something that was brought up earlier. It's education. And I think that access to education is unfairly tilted against people of color.
right,
And I don't mean that when I'm not like getting on a soapbox and saying, oh, this is what we need to change. I'm saying that there are schools that they don't have enough math books for kids in the class.
Facts.
That's not a problem in other schools, in wealthier white neighborhoods. And also, examples. We were saying that you look at your parents for an example, right? We all do whatever our parents tell us. We all, the 3 of us right here, have some terrible habits that we inherited from our parents.
Facts.
You know, whether it's biting our fingernails, or we watched our parents do it and then we did it. If you don't have someone to model your financial life after, just like your personal life, it's probably gonna be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's how we have to change it. We have to show African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, people of color that there's nothing wrong with saving money. There's nothing wrong with not being the bling, having bling. There's nothing wrong with having a little.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with saving it. There's nothing wrong with investing in yourself before you invest in personal things. You
Right.
know? And I think that's something our culture, we want to show that we are equal so bad that sometimes we waste money on things just to look a certain way as opposed to being a certain way.
Let me ask you this, because this thought just came to my head as you were talking. Like, are you a product of your society?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think I am.
Okay.
I think I am.
Or to your environment.
To my environment, yes.
To your
I
environment.
think I'm a product of my environment for sure. I think my parents were very strict. They were very, not my problem. This is how the world works, and it forced me to confront some uncomfortable things
Right.
at a young age, as opposed to when I'm an adult. So I got a little bit of a head start.
Same question for you. Are you a product of your environment?
Yeah, of course.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think that's like a valid question to ask, because like y'all came up from 2 different environments.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, where it's not a lot of times we actually realize like you didn't get the education or the knowledge and the tools that you needed as far as like financial literacy, financial education, because you came from this background, whereas you got it because you came from this background.
Mhm.
Like, it is like I think a lot of people don't realize being a product of your environment is definitely, it makes a difference.
It does. It does. And I would say one good example would be, growing up on the West, where Brookfield and Elm Grove and all that stuff, it was like the conversations that my dad would have with people in the garage over a beer were different conversations. And so it might be someone saying, hey, you know what you should be putting your money into? And that's a conversation my grandpa wasn't having over on 26 and Hadley. He wasn't having that conversation
Right,
with his neighbors. And so it's a different environment. And I think that all three of us are products of our environment.
Right.
But luckily, all three of us are smart enough to know we're also a product of our experiences.
Speak on it. Speak on it. Okay. He dropped the whole bar. He ain't know he dropped the whole bar. Hey, so Barney, let me ask you this.
Yep.
Can you break down the American racial wealth gap? Can you break down what it means?
Okay, it means opportunity. It means access. The difference being is that, let's say you didn't get a scholarship. Let's say you didn't have someone bring you to Kansas to play basketball.
Hello?
Well, how would you have gotten to college? How would you have gotten there? It's one of those things where I think that is what we have to change, is the access to education, the access to knowledge about things. I also think, we got to change taxation. Everyone loves to say, and I'm not saying, again, as me and Tone said this many times, we are not a political show.
Not at all.
But like the Trump tax cut, everybody loved hearing about it. But, basically, families earning about $25,000, they saved $40 with the tax cut. But if you were making,
Wait, say that one more time for him.
yeah, if you were a family earning $25,000 or less annually, you got a 40% tax, or $40.
$40.
$40. But if you have a household, if you and your girl are making $3.4 million, you save $937,000 in taxes because of that tax cut. That's crazy. So think about that. The person who is making $25,000 between him and his wife, him and his partner, whatever, her and her partner, whatever, they save $40. The person making $3.4 million, don't need help from anybody, saved almost $1 million in taxes. That's a problem that we gotta fix in this country.
And so I know we were talking a little bit about this earlier. We're talking about the Trump tax break.
Yeah.
Can you help me understand that a little bit more? Like, is that because of the Trump tax break that's going on?
Yeah, that's specifically to the Trump tax break, because it's touted as this big achievement. And something that Tone and I said off camera, where Tone said that it does give a lot of extra money to companies, so they're able to hire, they're able to do things, and he's right about that. But at the same time, whenever you're giving a tax break, it needs to benefit the people paying taxes. And since a lot of corporations don't pay taxes, I don't know if I was so happy about that break being given to them.
Like an Amazon?
Like an Amazon. But at the same time, thank you, Amazon.
I just had to throw it out there.
But at the same time, Amazon, thank you for building that giant factory down that place in Kenosha where everybody, there's hundreds and hundreds of jobs in Racine and Kenosha because of Amazon.
And definitely during this pandemic, huh?
Pandemic. I like that.
Hey.
But I think, also too, like, establish an act where every child automatically has savings put into their. So if I'm paying taxes, I make $30,000 a year, me and my spouse combined. Some of my tax money should go to a fund for my kids so they can go to college. Like, there are things that other countries are doing, like they do that in Belgium where I play basketball. It's like money goes from your taxes goes into educational funds for kids.
Right.
That's how we could change this if we wanted to change it.
Man, honestly, we gonna jump a little bit more into how we could, close the gap when it comes to this, the racial wealth.
Yes.
We definitely gonna jump into that a little bit more. But is the gap closing, or is the gap getting worse?
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse.
Unfortunately, the gap is increasing, and the pandemic has been a huge part of that. I'm sure you've all read the rich have gotten significantly richer during the pandemic, while the marginalized and the poor have gotten significantly
getting poorer.
This is a troubling development right now. And I'll be honest with you, I wish I was smart enough to figure it out, but I don't know how we switch it. Because in my business, what I do for a living, I'm actually just good because my clients are making a lot more money.
Right.
Which, of course, translates to me making more money.
Right,
But at the
right,
same
right.
time, it feels weird because I do also talk to some of my clients who are struggling, who own bars and restaurants and smaller businesses, and they're mortgaging their houses, getting second mortgages to pay their payroll. And I feel like it's growing because if they don't get through this pandemic, Tone, they're going to be broke.
Right.
And the people who are up here are just going to get richer because they're going to buy this business for pennies on the dollar and reopen it.
Right. I don't know if you got a question.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just going like.
And I'm
talking-
guessing.
Yeah.
And honestly though, because I'm sorry, Pat, to cut you off,
Yeah.
because like what I was thinking is that like, okay, so this is my first year as a business owner.
Yes.
P.Y.O.N Media LLC, just so y'all know. Visit
Write it down.
Visit pionmedia.squarespace.com. Just so you get your merch.
We're
Camera
all
one, camera two.
going to be working for him in 5 years, so it's all
No,
good.
but being my first year as a business owner, being 2020, like I wouldn't say things were as hard as they were, before that, right?
Understood,
So like for me, it's like I understand the fact that you say that the rich got richer, but I would say I didn't have a terrible year, and with the stimulus checks
Right.
being given out, with like all of these
I agree.
other grants and perks being given out, like
You managed it properly, though.
okay,
That's a difference, too.
so speak on it.
Because of the way you think, as long as I have known you, you have been focused on what you like. You see where you're driving to, and that's all you focus on.
I am on a continuous hunt to be who I have not become yet.
I love that
Speak
line.
on it.
I love that line. And I think that's why you benefited from it, because you said, hey, I got a stimulus check, I'm not just gonna go blow it.
Right.
You're like, I'm putting it back into my business. You invested back into yourself.
Facts.
You bought more material for shirts, you expanded your equipment. I noticed you were putting your money back into yourself. You were investing in your business. That is huge, man. It's huge. And so proud of you.
Right. I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate that. But like, what do you think? Like, why is it such has it been such a unique difference between people who you say like the rich just getting richer? I feel like everybody these last few years have come up in some way.
Yes.
Because of this unknown like stimulus packet that no one ever knew that even existed. Like we should have been given, some money a long time ago, being minorities and people of color in this. I don't want to speak on it, but I'm trying to speak on it.
We're going to have to edit that out in post-production. But no, well, speak on that. You speak on it. I'm going to take, because I don't want to over-talk, so
Right.
speak on it, man. What do you think?
About like the racial gap.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is like how hard it is. Like if you just go, like for me, in tone.
Mm-hmm.
So our family has been below like a certain threshold.
Mm-hmm.
I like just imagine us as like a generation. Your generation has been below a certain threshold. You're the first person that's like, I'm gonna try to cross this line.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm going to try to cross this line. So let's say let's say there's 5 levels. The 5th level is, you're a millionaire and your grandkids and their kids are set. You got millions and millions invested somewhere else. And level 1 is poverty. You suck.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
level 2, you pass, you graduated college. Level 3, we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to 6 figures a year, to where our kids are okay.
Right.
But when you're getting to that spot, your family's generation can be taken down by one of your kids. Let's say you have one son, right? And he doesn't fulfill what you need him to do. Your family and your genes are right back to level 2.
Right.
And if
Wow.
that kid doesn't do anything, it's right back to level 1. Whereas these families that are starting at like level 4 and level 5,
Yes.
if their kids mess up,
The backslide isn't so far.
The backslide so far is level 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, we still got, we're still somewhere in the middle.
That's a valid example, bro.
We can build up from that point.
Yeah,
Excellent.
they can always recover. But if your son messes up what you started, your family's right back in the inner city Chicago. My family's right back in Pontiac, like it never happened.
Right.
They could be like, yeah, granddad did this, but we back here and we back doing this, the same thing that he got away from.
That's a fantastic point, man. Seriously, that is. I never really thought of it that way. That's the truth, because someone at level 4, they don't take care of business. They get kicked out of college. They got to come back home live with their parents. Man, it's level 3. You can still dad can probably still, or mom can hook you up with a job from one of our friends at their company that they own, and you'll be fine. But if it's one of our kids and they backslide down, well, guess what? Our friends don't own companies. Our friends don't have a connection at this business to get you in. And that is something I never really took.
Right. He did. He broke that down. I like how he did
Amazing.
that. And I think that's a perfect transition to jump into. So yes, Barty is a nerd. I just want to say that. Yes, he is.
What?
I don't.
He was good at though.
That's honestly no. So y'all see a bunch of paperwork up here, but let's talk about these maps that you brought up for us today, Barney.
Yeah.
Could you help us break these down a little bit? Get into a little bit about these maps.
So Tone's talking about, you probably see them on screen,
Yep.
is that there's the average family wealth by race and ethnicity from 1963 to 2016. The reason that it stops in 2016 is because you need a couple years to extrapolate that data and make it apply to certain situations.
Which fascinates me, the fact that you had to wait a few years.
Yeah.
I get it, it makes sense. It makes sense, but like when you're visibly looking at these things, you're like, wait, what is it today? There's never necessarily a today, huh?
Well, it's really hard to be to date because all the information from last year, it's got to be compiled.
Yeah.
It's got to be analyzed. It's got to be like, there has to be, how you always see when there's a survey, they always say there's a 3 to 4% variable. We'd be off by 3 to 4%.
Right.
And it's the same thing. And so if they want to be respected and the numbers have to be accurate, you got to have usually it's about 24 months to get confirmation on some of the statistics.
Right.
That's why I'm going to tell all of you right now, be very suspicious of statistics because people can make statistics up and they sound very, very real. Always do your research. So average family wealth by race, ethnicity. So one of the things Tone brought up earlier was how there's a huge gap from 17,000 to 170,000. It's 7 times % more, the average family wealth by race. So your average family wealth in 2016 was 919,000 for a non-person of color, a white family. For blacks, that same family wealth was at 139,000. So that's 7 times difference.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So white families in 1983 held 5 times more wealth than black families. Now it's 7 times as of 2016. So what do you think it is now in 2021?
2021, yeah.
Things haven't, unless I missed something, I don't remember anything saying that it evened up. There was no news flash. And so
will it ever?
I think it will.
Okay.
But it's going to be decades
Okay.
before the gap closes. And that's going to be due to what you're seeing now because you have these sea changes. You have the NBA giving money to historically black colleges so they can increase their recruiting efforts. You have people like to hate on him, but Michael Jordan, who secretly is investing money back into the black community on the DL because he doesn't want to be that guy.
He don't want that, yeah.
But at the same time, the median wealth is going to change as opportunities increase for each of us. So I will tell you this right now, I am the only African American in my firm. We have 180 financial professionals in the state of Wisconsin. Is me. Is the only African American. That is messed up.
It is.
And it's not because we haven't tried. My company, the person who runs my firm, or our branch here in Wisconsin, he is as active as you can be. It's just because we have to have a pool of candidates. And so I think that's going to close the gap is when African American families know that they can come to a guy who looks like them, who has the same experiences as them, and will be able to help them figure out a path. And whether it's Hispanics, whether it's Asians, we need to have more people of color doing what I do so they can show that, hey, it's not just a certain group of people that get to have the bubbly life, you know? And I think that's it. And so I think those are, when you see these charts, people, it's like, we all can feel that doesn't feel right even to look at these charts.
Right.
So what do you think? Like, what do you think, Tone? What could close this gap? Because that's a big gap, 17 to 170.
Man, honestly, it's something we talked about before, raising the minimum wage.
I think that, and I agree. I think that has to happen.
I think that is definitely a big plus. Not only that, like you brought up the financial piece.
Yes.
I think that's one of the biggest pieces, you know, as far as, you know, helping raise that gap, because what we don't know is what we don't know. You know, like,
Exactly. You don't know what you don't know.
We don't know what we don't know. And,
Yes.
and I think those are two huge pieces as far as helping raise that gap. I know Pat brought up reparations. I think that will help.
But when you economically put race in a disadvantaged position, you have to do something to make it right.
Right.
People hate affirmative action, right? But guess what? Without affirmative action, there are no black policemen. There are no black firemen. If you didn't force someone to do it, they're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't force the three of us to go pay the parking meter by giving us tickets, and we don't, we would never leave.
Let's talk about Milwaukee Park.
Yeah. We would never.
We're not gonna get into
We hate Milwaukee parking. But I'll tell you this, no one would pay their parking meters if there were no consequences.
Right.
And so you had to make affirmative action happen, because there had to be consequences for not giving equally qualified candidates a chance.
Yeah.
There has to be. And so I don't know, I just think, you know, I can go off on this. Like, I see this on a daily basis. I was fortunate enough to have African American and white mentors who put me in the right position. They put me in, this is something I want to make very important. If any of you people watching this have a position of any authority, you owe it to yourself and to anyone around you to help people who have to struggle like you to get in that same room. And that was the difference for me.
And honestly, this is why I appreciate him so much, though. Honestly, like, because he's seen value in what I was trying to do. He's seen value in Put You On Notice podcast. He's seen value in P.Y.O.N Media, and he wanted to help out in whatever way that he can.
And I pestered him nonstop.
He did. But honestly, I definitely appreciate you, you know, sharing your wisdom and your, you know what I'm saying, your experiences with us. Like, I definitely appreciate you so much for that, man. For real.
It's a mutual appreciation society, man, because I told you, I get fired up from these podcasts because Tone brings to me an angle I've never thought of most of the time. And that's helped me in my business. And I think that's something that the three of us, were having a conversation, we're chopping things up, but it's like, I'm taking nuggets of it, man.
Right.
I'm filing it away, and I'll be using this to be a better person moving forward. Because there's things I didn't think of about growing up, about what our parents done for us, things of that nature, where it's like, these are great.
Right.
Great
And as we also do,
conversations.
take nuggets from it. Drop gems, man.
Mm-hmm.
Drop gems in the comments. If y'all have anything to say, please just let us know. Put us on notice about some stuff you want to know about. Put us on notice about some stuff that you have been taught. I appreciate y'all for doing that, man, for real.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, let's change it up a little bit, man.
All right, let's do it.
You know what I'm saying? March Madness.
March Madness.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't the same. It's not the same.
It's not the same. It ain't the same. So this is a financial podcast, right? We're talking about why is the NCAA different, Tone? Why is it different this year? Why is it different this year? Because
they not doing what they was doing before they was doing. You hear me, Doc? Let me in. And no, man, the NCAA is definitely it's different this year.
Why do you think? Why do you think it's different? Like, do you know any team? Do you have a favorite this year? Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, did you pay attention this year that you have done previous years?
Right. I think the biggest part of that is that they jumped. A lot of teams jump right into conference play.
Yes.
So you didn't get the the build up to like knowing the players and start to follow some of these players' stories,
Right.
it just jumped right. It was like Duke, Carolina. You like, hold on, like
Give me a second.
who does Duke have? Who does Carolina?
Right.
And then we're in the one and done era, so you obviously got to get to know new players,
Yes.
especially for the more exciting teams, the Duke, the Kansas, the Carolinas.
Mhm.
So you got to know all these new players. Then, like, by the time you get into it, you're not that into it. Your team's losing. So it's just a bunch of different things that go into it, I think.
Do you think, I want to ask, I'm a table list to both of you guys, like, why do you think there's even an NCAA season this year during a pandemic? Why are children who are not being paid, why are they playing basketball?
Because it's the money. It's the money.
So
Man, these universities still got to make money, man. They definitely still got to make money. And this is something Pat and myself have talked about on the crossover.
On the crossover.
Y'all, hey, the last episode
Last
of the crossover,
episode's fire.
y'all got to check it out.
Gotta
man.
check it out.
Pat and Webb get into a heated discussion about, is the value of the dollar taken away from the love of the game? And elaborate about what we were discussing real quick as far as what you thought when we had that discussion.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get players who are starting to want to control their own fate
Narrative. They want to
narrative.
Yeah, they're creating their own story.
They're creating their own story. So you're starting to get these players who are in great financial situations that wanted to get to even better financial situations, which that meaning off the court,
Generational wealth.
wealth, and you got some people that believe that these players should finish their contract and not be able to move because that's what the older players did in the NFL.
Wrong.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I gotta watch the last episode.
I'm on his side of this
Appreciate
argument.
that. Because I feel like
Old washed up player.
right.
Yeah.
So I feel like the biggest part of that for me was that we need these guys. We need the Russell Wilsons. We need the Deshaun Watsons. If
Yes.
you know what Deshaun Watson does for like charity and stuff like
Right,
that.
Amazing guy.
We need these guys to get as much money as possible because these are the guys that are pushing money back into our community.
Into the community.
So
Okay.
if the Texans are going to lose for the next 3 years, right? We're going to forget about Deshaun Watson. Obviously, real football fans aren't going to get, but the media that tune in,
that exposure is not getting.
they're not going to
that.
see Deshaun Watson on Thanksgiving. They're not going to see
Platform
Deshaun
is
Watson.
important.
Right. They're going to see, the Josh Allens. They're going to see, Aaron Rodgers. They're going to see these guys continue to win. They're not going to see Deshaun Watson, and that's what he's worried about. He's worried about his off the field money. Obviously, if he gets traded, he's still going to make the same amount of money that he is with the Texans.
True.
Because his contract is going to the same place, so he's
Right.
not making any more money.
Excellent.
But he's going to make a lot more money off the field if he can be in a Start for Arm commercial with Patrick Mahomes, right? Everybody's like, who is Deshaun Watson? What does Deshaun Watson do?
Exactly. Like I saw Deshaun Watson. He did a the Amazon Analytics where they talk about the numbers, the stats. It's like Stats Plus, whatever. It's like I saw a Deshaun Watson commercial for that. This is the first one I ever saw of him ever being involved in something that was like media savvy. Like it's him and Christian McCaffrey do the commercial. They're like a 13% chance of completion. You've seen those commercials, and it was like that's something that you never saw an African American quarterback get that kind of commercial before. And
Right.
it's like I do want to see like when Patrick Mahomes like doing a Head and Shoulders commercial, and that platform though, if he says donate money to this cause, people will donate it because of that platform. You know?
So to continue that crossover conversation that we had, like, is the player value more important than the brand? Like, is the player the brand, or is the brand the brand? Like a Duke University is. Like, this is our discussion.
So Duke versus Zion.
Duke versus Zion. That was our conversation.
Duke versus Zion.
And our conversation was, is Duke bigger than Zion Williamson?
Yes.
Williamson.
The brand is always bigger than the person.
We got, these are two Duke fans. Just to
I just well, hey, but
put
it's
that
out
under
there.
there. Like, these are two Duke fans to my right here.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. just put that out there right there before we get into this conversation.
But no, I think it's a valid. I think it's a valid conversation in
it's
today's
definitely valid.
Like,
I'm not saying Duke doesn't have any part of it, but I feel like so. Barney mentioned something before. He probably didn't know I was going to use this against him. Barney mentioned something. He's like, part of why Duke, who Duke is today, is because of Grant Hill, Christian Laettner. We could throw Coach K in there.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right. That's not Duke's brand. Those are the people that are making that brand, and they continue to get those players over the past 20 or so years that kept building that brand, kept building that brand.
But-
And those players at the time were bigger than the Duke brand, but as the Duke brand went on, like, okay, yeah, we got Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is bigger than the Duke brand, but we got Kyrie Irving.
He's not bigger than the Duke brand.
His
Right.
His popularity is accentuated because of the
right.
Duke brand.
Because of the
Listen,
Duke
and
brand.
I give you that. Kyrie, the Jason Tatums, the Brandon Ingrams, those are all made by the Duke brand because of the first players. Grant Hill, who was big, I think Grant Hill, Coach K, and Christian Laettner were
So
bigger
there's
than the Duke
discrepancy
brand.
in what you're saying.
Right. But listen, they were bigger than the Duke brand, and then the Duke brand went up here, and then all these players came over, and then Zion was the first player after the Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, Coach K that was bigger than the Duke brand.
I see what he's saying. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I can see your position. I
right
don't
now-
necessarily agree with it.
Right,
I can see it's a valid argument.
It is a valid argument.
You know what I'm saying?
It is a valid argument.
Like Zion was what people wanted. You know, people got to see LeBron James go to college, basically, when Zion went to college. That's all people wanted. People wanted to see LeBron in college, and they got that with
Zion.
With Zion.
I like that
excitement.
I like
they got
that
that guy that was like, we always wanted that guy. When's the last time we had like such a super dominant player like that?
Right. Where the president's coming to see him.
Where the president,
Yeah.
like, name another player like that. Like, why hasn't Barack Obama been to a Duke game before that? Why didn't Bush go to a Duke game before that?
Come on,
Clinton
man.
go
Come
to
on,
a-
man. Chill out. What you talking about, bro?
Here's what I'll say.
We never had presidents like Barack. We never had presidents like Barack. I'm gonna just point that
How
out.
long was Barack president?
Huh?
8 years.
8 years?
8 years.
How long was Zion at Duke?
Hey, it don't matter.
Hey, 7 other
Hey,
years.
and Zion was at Duke. And Zion, wait. You can't gap him up because if Zion was at Duke during what do you say, George Bush era, like Bush ain't going to Duke. What? What are you talking about?
We just
Okay,
keep it Obama.
What are you
Keep
talking
it
about?
Why didn't Obama go see Brandon Ingram?
But let's talk about the sport too.
Huh?
Let's talk about the sport.
Okay.
So, basketball is unique of any of the professional sports because one person can change the fortunes of a program or a team. One individual. Unlike the NFL, where everybody's got helmets on.
Yeah.
Where you can't, you root for the brand in
Uh-huh.
football. Like, if you're a Bears fan, unfortunately, or you're a Packer fan.
Time out. We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there.
Edit that out.
Wait, wait, did I do that? But you know what I mean? It's like, so the Packer, think about this, and I also think time also lessens this, because think about this, Brett Favre, Mr. Packer, right?
Right.
He got traded to the Vikings, got traded to the Jets, started talking crazy about the Packers. Eventually, everyone's like, Aaron Rodgers is my guy.
Right.
It's not because Brett Favre did anything less, it's because time went on and we realized we like the Packers more than we like Brett Favre. And so that's why I'm saying Duke brings Zion and all, it brings them up. And then Zion being a special player took it to the next level.
Right.
You know, and I think it's one of those where they aren't independent of each other, they're interdependent of each other. Duke becomes greater because of Zion. Zion
Say that
becomes
again.
greater.
They're not dependent on each other. They is what? Say it.
They're not independent of each other, they're interdependent of each
Okay.
other. That Zion
bar.
became bigger. Zion became bigger because of Duke, and Duke became bigger because of Zion. They
Right.
both benefited from it, but without each other, they wouldn't have reached those levels.
That's all I try to make them understand. That's all I've been trying to make them understand.
I got one.
And since he's the editor, He's right.
Hey, you can edit anything you want.
Don't worry, I got it. I'm not editing.
You're not editing.
But I think my counter argument to that is we're a different era than this new era that Zion came up in.
I agree.
No athlete
I agree.
could get 2.4 million followers what Zion had in high school.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's true.
these new kids, so you know, you're a Bears fan because you grew up a Bears fan and you love the team,
I didn't
right?
think about that.
We're starting to get, you know, there's kids that are just Texans fans right now, and you'd be like, "Hey, have you ever been to Texas?" They'd be like, "No." Why do you like the Texans? Deshaun Watson. They're fans of players now. There's no more fans of teams anymore. These kids
The
are like,
fandom.
these kids
It's
are
different.
picking, these
It's
kids are
different
picking their players now.
I
You know,
feel
there's
that.
kids that are New Orleans Pelicans fans, never been to Mardi Gras before.
That's an
You know what the beast I'm saying? You see your little daughter wearing me, right?
That's a great point, man.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a valid point. That is a valid point.
That's a great point.
We gonna leave it with that too. Hey, but like, okay, how much money will the NCAA lose this year? First off, before we jump in that, do y'all have a pick for NCAA championship this year? Yeah, who y'all think is gonna be in the championship, or who y'all think gonna win? I just want to put that on wax real quick. Cause Duke, we know Duke not in.
Duke's not in anymore, so it doesn't even count.
This year.
I'm gonna go with Michigan, man, because I like Juwan Howard. I like the old Fab Five, and you know, the Big Ten is balling this year. So I would pick Gonzaga, but we all know they choked at the tournament.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know.
I said I was going that way too, but go ahead.
I'm a big fan of Cade Cunningham over at Oklahoma State. So
Excellent.
Bro, he got game.
got game.
He got
So
game.
That's what I'm rooting
Excellent.
for. Oklahoma State.
Well, there y'all have it. But okay, jumping to the question though, how much money, Barney? Because I know there's some you and I discussed. How much money you think the NCAA will lose this year because of the whole pandemic, because of the whole COVID? You know, you dig. How much?
So the average business in America, the average businesses are going to lose about $13 billion in productivity just because of the NCAA tournament.
And why is that?
Because literally people stop what they're doing to talk about their brackets at work. They stop what they're doing to watch the games on their computer on a little bitty tiny screen or on their phone. And you have, like right now, $8.5 billion will be bet on the NCAA tournament this year. Think about that. Imagine what that money could be doing in this country if it wasn't being bet at a sports book.
Right.
So, I mean, this is no joke. That's why Tony and I have a conversation that there is no amateur athletics.
Right.
Because that kind of money, that's not amateur. That's not
So,
amateur.
There we go.
you know, should college players be paid?
Since this is a money program, yes.
Huh?
Yes, they should.
Definitely.
Because why is there sports on right now behind
Right now.
us? We're watching college basketball behind this camera here because of money. There's no excuse for children. And a lot of these people are still kids. Some of them are 17 that are freshmen playing.
The university's
18.
making money off of these kids.
Yes, this is strictly for money. Otherwise, you don't have kids playing sports during a pandemic.
During a pandemic. He right.
Yeah.
I ain't
Don't
having it.
get me started on this.
Hey.
When college coaches start getting paid $7-8 million and the workforce is not being paid, I have an issue with it. I'm sorry.
They should be paid.
Should be paid.
How much you looking for? You
What?
You trying to collect the check?
Yeah, I mean,
I would think so.
I'm trying to get something back.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think they definitely should be paid. You know, these kids are risking. Okay, we can go. It's $74,000 to go to Duke.
Right.
$74,000.
Wow.
$74,000 to go to Duke. Let's say Zion. Let's just cap what Zion made Duke. Let's just say he made them a clean million.
Easy.
Okay, that's the biggest difference right there. And then we could throw that he's going to make $44 million, first round draft pick. He's going to make $44 million off his rookie contract. And let's say he gets hurt. Let's say he takes out the insurance, like Webb said on the cross up, and he gets his $8 million off his insurance. So 44 minus 8, 36. $36 million he missed off. Is Duke going to help him get that back?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
They're going to hang his jersey in the Raptors, give him a pat on the back, maybe give him an assistant coaching job. And that's it.
And I
Hey,
would say
man, this dude.
think about this though. There is, and Antone is dealing with this. I know, like you don't really talk about like playing collegiate sports. Now that he's older, he notices that the ankle doesn't work the same way it did before he hurt it in college. His elbow or his shoulder, it's like.
But first off, you ain't gotta put my business out like that. Like everybody.
It's his left knee. So drop
Just so
knee
y'all
to
know.
the left.
So, it just full disclosure, both my knees are messed up. So, ankles and shoulders, it doesn't matter. I'm old, you sound like a bag of walnuts when I wake up in the morning. I'm telling you right now, that's another thing they don't take into account. There are friends of mine who played, at whether it be Penn State or Notre Dame football, they are crippled 45-year-old men right now.
Right.
And their wife has to help them out of a chair. North Carolina, Duke, they ain't paying any of his medical bills. They're not, his quality of life is affected. And it's all for free.
Right.
And so my big thing is you don't gotta pay them on a weekly basis, but when they graduate, they should have a couple $100,000 waiting for them when they get that degree. At least give them something for all the money you're making this school. That's just me.
Facts. I agree. I definitely agree with that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, there's been some dope conversations, been
I
some
hope
dope
so.
content.
All right.
Hey, but before we get up out of here, though, we know that stimmy coming around.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? About $1,400 $1,400 dinar.
Unless you have a kid. If you have a kid, you get some more too.
You get about $3,000
Yeah.
on top of that.
Right on.
I was trying to have kids like yesterday. I was trying to pop them out like
This is my kid.
like a hot pocket. I was trying to get them in, get them out. You know what I'm saying? But no, man. What is some important information that you think we should know when it comes to this new stimulus package?
Ask questions. If you are not sure if you are getting the stimulus check, call. You can call your alderman. You can call the IRS. You can call the Social Security Department. They will give you direction on whether you should be getting it or not.
Right.
Google it. The amount of information that's available for free. Please do not just sit there and expect it just to magically appear in your account.
Time out. I just want y'all to know that he just said he would give you more information, but it's gonna cost you something. Paramount Financials, Mr. Barney Moore. He's just been put on notice.
But seriously, I think that's the biggest thing is that don't just assume that you're going to get it.
Right.
Make sure, and a lot of people don't understand this, if you have never received a tax return or you've never filed taxes, they have no record of where to send this money.
Right.
So these are things you have to go out and get it. Money is out there, but if you don't go get it, that's on you. So I would say also stimulus. Once you get it, pay the bills. Spend what's left over at the end.
Right.
And
That's simple.
that's simple, but you'll be surprised how many people fail to do that.
Right. Agree.
And I've been there, we've all been there, but this is a different time. This is a pandemic. Be smart with your money.
There I have it. From the king, Mr. Barney Moore. You know what I'm saying?
Trying.
Right here on Set the Bar.
Toad's World, I'm just paying rent. This is him.
You paying rent?
Yeah, paying rent.
How much y'all charge here?
Hey!
We're gonna edit this part out.
Hey man, I appreciate y'all for joining us on another episode of the Cross Up.
Thank you.
Honestly, I did kind of want to.
It's not the cross up.
I mean, man.
This is set the bar.
Set the bar. Look.
That's why he need money because
We at a bar and set the bar.
the CTE sitting there. I've been complaining. The whole set smell like Bengay. I'm sick of this.
You know what? I was gonna do an interview that time, but forget them, man. Y'all just been put on notice.
Thank you.